and welcome to another edition, maybe my favorite edition of Rotary Unplugged, where we reach out to our fellow Rotarians and, well, ask them why Rotary for you, what's been the history, what's going to be the future, and maybe 5 fun facts that you didn't know. And I say favorite because our next guest is he might be a couple bosses above me with WGVU Public Media. I introduce you, James, we'll call you Jim Rademaker, General Manager of WGVU Public Media. Oh, you may be interviewed by me. Good day to you, Jim.
Shelley, it's always a pleasure to be interviewed by you. I've been shared the studio with you many a time.
Yes, and again, I personally thank you for your leadership in the day job. But let's cut to the chase. You joined our Grand Rapids Rotary. I think it was a transfer. Obviously, I'll ask about that. But you hit the ground running. You're on the board. You're co-chairing committees. You're attending luncheons. This was purposeful, Jim. Thank you for your leadership.
Thanks, Shelley. I I don't know why it took me so long to get in Rotary, actually. Uh, so I can tell you, I got into Rotary in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, when I was a general manager up there and got involved. Every club is unique. And I thought, oh, I'm in Rotary and every Rotary is like this. And it was I'd say there's one similarity between all Rotary clubs, and it is that there's a spirit of service to the community. There's a real desire in every club to make an impact in their local community. They do it in different ways, uh, but every single person is there because they want to make a difference in their community. And that's really the core of what I think makes Rotary great.
Did you grow up with a service family? Do you have a service DNA that we need to know about?
Yeah, my family definitely not like Rotary or my grandpa was in Lions Club. And I have a funny story about my dad learning that his dad's nickname was Lion Ed, quite by accident, and he was like, "Wait, my dad's known as a liar?" And then he figured out it was the Lions Club. But but I think that it was definitely instilled at me as a young age to serve others. My parents worked at a juvenile training center, or volunteered at a juvenile training center. We sponsored a Vietnamese family in the early 70s. We have always been, my parents were foster parents. So it's always been kind of a service to others mentality is uh, what makes a full life.
Hmm. When did you know, Jim, that it was time to become a full-fledged Rotary of Grand Rapids member?
When I moved here, I was already a member at Mount Pleasant, and I knew I wanted to continue. And so I immediately transferred my membership down. I started here in uh, August of 21, but came back to WGVU in August of 21, and immediately went to somebody I knew named Shelley Irwin, who I knew was a member of Rotary Club, and said, "Hey, get me in touch." And the rest is history. I became transferred my membership right away. I think it took a month for it to become official, but yeah. So
Yes.
ever since I got here.
And did you know that your initial time here would grow into leadership right away? Is that the kind of person you are?
It actually kind of surprised me how quick. The first thing, community service was a committee, which, and as you will hear, and for Rotarians who are currently members, you all know community service is the best committee in Rotary Club, or community engagement. And I went to a meeting because I thought, yeah, this is where I should be. And within, there was a transition happening in uh, the chair position at the time, and I said, well, sure, I can do this. And so it just kind of happened. and then membership just kind of, if you go with the flow, good things will happen. And
Hmm.
so I love being involved. The two main committees I'm involved with are community engagement and membership, and then of course the board. And I just, I guess I kind of do naturally gravitate towards leadership stuff. So it just kind of happens. You
Good.
know, Shelley.
We're glad that it happens. What have been a couple of highlights, service activities you've been involved in before we talk more about GMR?
I think that the last fall's joint club community service project with Muskegon was just a really cool experience, and I'd want to see more of that kind of thing happen between clubs. I think that's just a great way uh, to spread the word of Rotary and see some new things. We learned a couple things from Muskegon. I know Muskegon learned some things from us. So I just think that only makes Rotary stronger. And then I don't know, I can't say that I love all the projects we do. I loved building ramps. I love doing the water filters. I love serving meals. I love preparing meals at different organizations or uh, it, to me, it's funny. There may be days, and I think everybody encounters this, especially if you're a big volunteer. It's like, oh my gosh, I guess I got to go do this. I signed up for this. And then you get there and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun because everybody's having a good time and you're doing something good and you come away feeling on top of the world.
It
So,
was fun serving meals at Degage together a couple of weeks
yeah.
ago, Jim. That was great. Hey, you've been in a couple of Rotary, you've seen a couple of other Rotaries work. What makes this Rotary unique?
I have to say, I, I don't know if it makes it unique. But this fall, I think was the perfect example of the power of Rotary. My mother passed away, and
Yeah.
it was a tough couple of months.
Mhm.
But I can't tell you how many people from Rotary reached out
Mm.
to me and how the club supported me in a really tough time, and how grateful I was to know that there were a whole lot of people on my side and behind me, and they weren't, they weren't there physically dealing with the things that we were, but knowing that you have that much support behind you and you have that many people thinking of you and wanting to do anything they can really made a difference. And I think it's not just about the community, uh, which is important, but it's also the relationships we develop. We walk into every meeting and we may not see the world exactly the same, but we have connected and we built a relationship with each other that just adds richness to your life. Uh, and there's so many stories of how people have connected outside of Rotary, whether it's personally or professionally. It just is a whole different level than any other organization I've worked with. So,
Great. Thank you for sharing that. 5 fun facts about Jim. What's your latest hobby?
well, my latest hobby I actually got to participate with you in uh, at the Home and Garden Show. Jay Schwanke hosts a show. He lives up in the Rockford area, and he hosts a show on WGVU called Life in Bloom. And he's really gotten me into doing flower decorations. And I've always loved the smell of flowers in my house. And I would just go to the flower place and buy some flowers and put them in a vase. But now, actually making my own flower decorations, it's super rewarding and it's super fun. And I've had Jay is a big advocate of giving flowers to people. And so I've started to do that. And let me tell you, you can really brighten someone's day by giving them a flower arrangement that you made. So it's been kind of fun. and it smells good.
Yes. Now you need to give us an example of your juggling, Jim.
Oh, I didn't bring my, I have I love juggling. I have juggling pins, I have juggling balls. I have several sets of juggling balls in my office, both here and at home. It's just something that I got as a Christmas gift as a kid and taught myself how to juggle. And I just kept on going because it's kind of fun. I think the hardest thing I ever juggled was a bowling ball, a football, and a softball.
More to
Uh,
do.
I think I'd
Staying,
rather juggle knives.
no, don't do that. Don't get cut. Staying on entertainment. I understand you love singing and theater. Talk about this.
Uh, so I ended up at WGVU because of theater. I was I, I got into theater in college and just loved it. And when I first came to Grand Rapids, a neighbor was really into theater, and she says, "You should audition for this theater company." And so I did, and I got the lead role in a play called Alibi. It was Mr. E.S. Solid. And that person also happened to be a WGVU auctioneer volunteer recruiter. And she says, "You'd be really good at this." And I volunteered for the WGVU auction, something I had never heard of before, didn't know what I was doing. And they said, "You're pretty good at this." And they said, "Do you want to do the on-air fund drive?" So I started doing that. And then I ran into the general manager and was having such a good time. I said, "Hey, do you have any jobs here?" And I started working quite accidentally 23 years ago at WGVU with the one and only Shelley Irwin,
Well,
who had started 6 months before me.
well, certain things keep one here because you have had a crazy number of jobs, but I'm so glad that you've set foot into our WGVU public media. What's the one crazy job you want to leave us with?
I think probably the one that's had the biggest impact on my life was that I was a chef and I love to cook. I love to cook for large groups. Every year for the 4th of July, I cook paella on a huge paella pan that I own for 50 people. And it's a huge highlight, and everybody gathers around and wants to help out. It's a lot of fun. So, yeah,
Jim, if one is interested in joining Rotary, our Grand Rapids Rotary, what's the first step?
I think it's just if somebody says, "Hey, you should think about Rotary," say, "Hey, that's a good idea. I'm going to come to a lunch with you. It doesn't cost you anything. Meet the group. If you share a passion for making our community a better place, Rotary is a place to do it." And what amazes me since I've joined this club in the last 3.5 years is that I've talked to a lot of people who say, "Why would I want to be around a bunch of old white guys?" Uh, that is not what Rotary Club of Grand Rapids is. We are a real good cross section of the community. Yep, there's some old white guys in it, but there's a whole lot of other people in it too. And I can't tell you how many people that I brought to club meetings say, "Well, this isn't what I was expecting. This is really refreshing." So just come to a lunch, and I think you'll see why we're special.
I'm doing the math. When will you be president?
They haven't asked me, and it's a 4-year cycle. So, you know, it's it's right now in this time of my life, it would be really challenging. There's a lot going on in our industries, Shelley, and so, um, but maybe someday.
Great. Thank you for being in these industries for sure. And keep on doing bouquets. How's that?
There you go. Maybe I'll bring some into the office when
Done.
Jay's not coming in to be on your show to give you.
That's it. JR, let's bring you on to talk about this podcast and
Perfect.
the beauty of spreading the word.
Just want to thank you both for your time today. Yeah, you can find this podcast at grrotary.org/unplug. Or if you use the Apple Podcast app, just type in it Grand Rapids Rotary Unplug. We'll find you there. We'll see you again next time. Thank you both again for your time.
Thanks.